I rewrote the script into a smoother, more polished storytelling format with stronger pacing, emotional tension, and cleaner narration while preserving the original plot. She said she had a date. My calm response changed everything. Before we begin, subscribe for more stories like this. Your support means more than you know. She said it while buttering toast, as casually as if she were commenting on the weather. I have a date tonight. The knife scraped softly against the plate. Outside our apartment in Hamburg, cold February rain streaked the windows, turning the city into a blur of gray skies and amber streetlights. Trams hummed in the distance, indifferent to the lives unfolding behind closed doors. Inside, the kitchen smelled of coffee and slightly burnt bread. I looked up. Laura didn't. Her hair was still damp from the shower, wrapped in the faded towel my mother had given her during our first Christmas together. "Okay," I said. "Just one word. No questions. No accusations. No anger." Her hand paused. I felt it immediately, the subtle shift in the room, the tightening of the air before a storm. Laura turned and studied my face. "You're okay with that?" she asked. I nodded and took a sip of coffee. It tasted bitter. "You said you had plans," I replied. "Enjoy." For a brief moment, she looked disappointed. If she had understood what that calm response really meant, she might have panicked. We had been together for 11 years. Married for 8. No children. At first, it was, "not yet." Later, it became, "maybe someday." Eventually, it turned into silence. I stopped asking. Laura worked in cultural marketing, surrounded by ambitious creatives, younger men with designer stubble and carefully rehearsed opinions. I worked for the city as an urban planner. Reliable. Predictable. Invisible. In my family, invisibility had always been a survival skill. I grew up in Rostock in a gray concrete apartment block near the Baltic Sea. My father drank heavily. Before his fists came his words. My mother learned to endure both. When he cheated, she cooked his favorite meals. When he humiliated her, she smiled for the neighbors. When he died suddenly from a stroke, people described him as complicated. Nobody asked how peacefully my mother slept afterward. Watching her taught me one thing. Never beg for love. Laura wasn't cruel. Not exactly. She was restless. She flirted openly and called it honesty. Whenever I expressed discomfort, she would smile and tell me I was imagining problems that didn't exist. Today they call it gaslighting. Back then, I simply called it marriage. The first warning sign appeared 6 months earlier. A hotel receipt hidden in her coat pocket. She claimed it was from a client meeting. Then came another receipt. A disappearing calendar invitation. Late-night messages that vanished before morning. I didn't confront her. I watched. I listened. I paid attention. My calm response that morning wasn't forgiveness. It was preparation. That afternoon, I left work early and walked along Hamburg's canals. The rain softened the city, blurring reflections across the dark water. Old brick warehouses stood like silent witnesses. Halfway across a bridge, I made a phone call. A number I hadn't dialed in years. "Hannah," I said when she answered. "I need a favor." Hannah was Laura's cousin. The black sheep of the family. Which usually means the only person willing to tell the truth. Years ago, over a bottle of wine, she had given me a warning. "The women in our family don't cheat by accident," she had said. "They curate." At the time, I laughed. Now I understood. By evening, everything had begun moving into place. Laura dressed carefully. A black dress. Simple jewelry. The kind of elegance designed to look effortless. She kissed my cheek before leaving. "Don't wait up." "I won't." The door closed behind her. The apartment became silent. I opened my laptop. Years earlier, Laura had accidentally synchronized a shared cloud account to my phone. She forgot. I didn't. There it was. Her second life. Messages hidden under initials. Photos she never sent me. Reservations. Promises. Plans. The man she was meeting that night wasn't the first. He was simply the first she admitted existed. Matthias Kohler. 46. Married. A senior executive at a regional development company bidding on a major city project. A project I had helped design. The implications were enormous. Personally. Professionally. Ethically. But I wasn't interested in revenge. Not yet. At 10:30 that night, a text appeared. Asterisk having fun. Hope you are too, asterisk. I stared at the message for a moment. Then replied. I am. And for the first time in a long while, I meant it. Over the following weeks, I changed nothing. At least on the surface. I cooked dinner. Asked about her day. Listened carefully. Smiled often. My calmness unsettled her. People reveal more when they feel safe. And Laura began revealing everything. The silences she once controlled became spaces she rushed to fill. Secrets have a habit of leaking through confidence. Meanwhile, Hannah provided the missing pieces. Old family scandals. Affairs buried beneath polite conversations. Payoffs disguised as inheritances. Patterns repeating across generations. Matthias wasn't Laura's first affair. He was simply the most careless. The turning point came in March. A charity gala in Berlin. Laura insisted we attend together. We should be seen together, she said. Seen. That word again. The ballroom glittered with wealth and influence. Champagne flowed freely. Conversations floated beneath crystal chandeliers. Matthias was there. So was his wife. I watched him place his hand on Laura's back with a familiarity neither of them noticed anymore. His wife noticed. She simply didn't understand what she was seeing. Not yet. When the speeches began, I stepped onto the stage. Officially, I was there to deliver a brief announcement on behalf of my department. I thanked the organizers. Spoke about civic responsibility. About transparency. About trust. Then I said something that changed the room. Cities and partnerships fail for the same reason marriages do, I said. Hidden rot. The room grew quiet. I presented documents. Not accusations. Facts. Dates. Contracts. Overlapping timelines. Conflicts of interest. Connections. Enough information for everyone present to draw their own conclusions. The silence lasted only seconds. Then came whispers. Phones appeared. Faces changed. People began doing the math. Laura stared at me in disbelief. The color drained from her face. Across the room, Matthias's wife finally understood. Later that night, Laura locked herself inside a bathroom and cried. When she emerged, mascara streaked her cheeks. Her voice was barely a whisper. You destroyed me. I looked at her calmly. No, I said. I stopped protecting your secrets. The consequences arrived quickly. Matthias resigned. Investigations followed. Business partnerships collapsed. Laura's contracts disappeared. Friends stopped calling. Within a month, she moved out. The morning she left, she paused at the doorway. For a moment, she looked like someone I used to know. Then she asked one final question. Did you ever love me? I thought about my mother. About silence. About promises. About everything I had learned. And everything I refused to become. Yes, I said. Enough to end this properly. Spring arrived slowly in Hamburg. Cherry blossoms returned. The days grew longer. Light found its way back into the city. And eventually, into my life. I live alone now. Peacefully. When people ask what happened, I don't embellish the story. I tell them the truth. She said she had a date. And for the first time, I responded with mine. This version improves readability, strengthens the emotional arc, and creates a more cinematic YouTube storytelling style that typically performs better for audience retention.